That's right, Weapon Review is back for an 11th and 12th episode. Today, we're going to be going over every simple weapon that I didn't go over in the original 8, and in episode 12, we'll be doing another round of viewer-submitted weapons, link in the description. Today's weapons will be broken up into 3 groups: rusty weapons, primitive tools, and crystal weapons. Rusty items. Before we get into individual weapons, there's one thing worth mentioning. All rusty items are completely indestructible. Now let's get into it. Rusty pitchfork, 0 out of 10. Not only does it do abysmal damage and have no tool use, but you can't even get it in-game without commands. Rusty shovel, 1 out of 10. This just barely makes it out of being a 0 due to the tool use. Rusty short sword, 1 out of 10. Rusty pickaxe, 1 out of 10 for the tool use. Rusty hammer, 1 out of 10. If it weren't indestructible and better as a hammer than a rock on a stick, it'd get a 0. Rusty greatsword, 1.5 out of 10. The damage is actually really good for a starting weapon, but in the context of the game as a whole, it still sucks. Rusty great axe, 1 out of 10. Unlike its non-rusty counterpart, this thing's damage is horrible in comparison to other weapons of the same tier. At least it's decent at cutting down oak trees. Rusty chisel, 10 out of 10 best weapon in the game. Rusty small axe, 1 out of 10. If you have just one, the great axe will always be better. If you dual wield the small axes, the damage isn't horrible for a rusty item, and it can cut trees pretty well. Primitive tools. Pickaxe/axe, 2 out of 10. If not for the fact that this can work as an axe, pickaxe, and torch all at once, it'd be a 1. Don't bother trying to use it for combat. Spear or chisel. As a weapon, it's worse than almost anything else in the game, and as a chisel, flint on its own is better. Hammer, 1 out of 10 for tool use. Crystal weapons. Something to note before we get to the individual weapons: the lance, pickaxe, and sword have horrible durability, and are basically the opposite of rusty items. Crystal sword, 5 out of 10. The damage is a little better than a silver short sword, and with air slash it's a beast, but aforementioned durability makes it not viable long term. Crystal pickaxe, 4.5 out of 10. As a pickaxe, it's nothing exceptional, and its melee damage is quite low, so why'd I place it so high? When used with air slash, it cuts through turbotas like butter, and it does decent damage to everything else too. Crystal lance, 4 out of 10. With the exception of melee range, the crystal sword does everything better. Crystal spike. Unlike the other 3, this has respectable durability and meh damage, 2 out of 10. And that's every simple weapon I had left to cover. If you have something more complex you want me to review, submit it to the Google form in the description, and I'll cover it next episode. Also, I am aware that this series doesn't really cover archery at all, and I'd just like to say that I do have something in the works regarding that. But, with all that said, I'll see you around. Oh, also, I updated the spreadsheet containing the damage for every weapon in the game, so if you want the specifics about these weapons, the link is in the description.